Why can't you stop thinking about someone? Have you ever found yourself thinking about someone over and over again, no matter how hard you try to stop? You might even find it distracting, frustrating, maybe even painful. And you ask yourself, why can't I just let it go? Well, my dear friends, I'm here to tell you that you're not alone. We've all been there. You're not weak or crazy for feeling like this. In fact, there's something deeply human, and sometimes even spiritual, about those overwhelming thoughts. When your mind can't seem to shake off someone, it's often more than just a passing emotion or an obsession. It's a signal. A call from within that begs you to explore something deeper, something your heart and soul are trying to tell you. Today, we're going to dig into why you can't stop thinking about someone. We'll explore the emotional, psychological, and spiritual reasons behind it. And most importantly, we'll talk about what you can do to find peace. Because, my friends, peace is possible, and I'm here to help you find it. Part 1. The nature of human connection. Let's begin with something simple, yet profound. We are all created for connection. It's in our nature. Whether we realize it or not, every person we meet leaves an imprint on us. Some people we meet for a moment, and others, well, they stay with us forever. Think back to someone you can't stop thinking about. Maybe a friend, a partner, a family member, or even someone who's no longer in your life. What do they mean to you? What role do they play in your heart and mind? From a spiritual perspective, human relationships are sacred. We are designed to share, to love, to care, and sometimes to grieve. But when someone takes up so much space in our thoughts, there's a reason for it. The connection you have with this person is significant. It could be love, unfinished business, a shared experience, or perhaps an unspoken need within you that this person once fulfilled. But what happens when that connection feels one-sided? Or when you can't reach the person who occupies your thoughts? Here lies the challenge. Your mind holds on to the bond, and sometimes it doesn't let go easily. I've seen it time and time again. People who can't move on from someone because their hearts are deeply tied to that person. But what we fail to realize is that the connection we feel is not just about the other person. It's about what we are still holding on to. It's a reminder of something within ourselves that needs attention. The question we need to ask ourselves is, why do I keep thinking about them? What part of my heart or soul is still attached? And more importantly, what is it that I need to learn from this bond? Part 2. The mind and the heart. Why we can't let go. You see, my dear friends, the mind is a powerful thing. Sometimes it can feel like a battlefield. And when it comes to someone who has left a mark on us, it can be a battlefield of thoughts, emotions, and desires. Psychologically speaking, our minds are wired to focus on things that evoke strong emotions, whether they are positive or negative. Love, pain, longing, these emotions make an imprint. When we think about someone constantly, it's because our minds are trying to process something that has stirred us deeply. Maybe it's the joy you felt with them, or maybe it's the pain of losing them. Perhaps you didn't get the closure you needed, or you're simply not ready to let go of the person they were to you. Whatever the reason, your brain keeps returning to that person because it's still trying to make sense of what happened. But what if I told you that there's something even deeper at play? When you can't stop thinking about someone, it's not just about the emotions they stir in you. It's also about the spiritual calling within. The truth is, when we become fixated on someone, it's often because we are trying to fulfill something that's missing within us. When you're constantly thinking about someone, it might be because your heart is looking for something, understanding, forgiveness, or even love. That person may be a mirror reflecting something within you that's unresolved, something that needs healing. So, what do we do when we're stuck in this cycle of thought? The answer isn't always easy, but it begins with understanding why we can't let go. It's about looking inward, recognizing the emotions or wounds we're still carrying, and being willing to face them. Because sometimes, the people we can't stop thinking about are the very ones who show us what we need to heal within ourselves. Part 3. The impact of past experiences. Now let's take a step back and look at something that's crucial in understanding why we can't stop thinking about someone: our past experiences. Each one of us carries a lifetime of memories, moments that have shaped who we are today. These experiences, both joyous and painful, stay with us. Sometimes, they are the root of the thoughts we can't escape. When we think about someone, it's not just about them. It's about the emotions and memories they bring up from our past. Maybe this person was a reflection of your own past, someone who reminded you of a parent, a sibling, or a loved one. Or perhaps they were tied to a part of you that you haven't yet healed. We often find ourselves holding on to someone because they represent something deeper in our lives. A feeling, a need, or a longing that was never fully met. Have you ever noticed that the people you can't stop thinking about often come from a place of your own emotional history? Maybe they remind you of a time in your life when you felt more complete, loved, or understood. Perhaps they were someone who gave you something you needed, whether it was comfort, attention, or a sense of belonging. But here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes, we hold on to these people because we haven't fully processed what they meant in our lives. Maybe there was hurt or conflict that was never resolved. And so, our minds keep going back to that unresolved chapter, over and over again, trying to find closure. I know this from experience too. There have been times when I've seen people struggle with these lingering thoughts. They can't let go of someone because they're still trying to understand the lesson that person was meant to teach them. They're still carrying the emotional weight of an unresolved past. The truth is, we can't move forward until we address what lies behind us. And sometimes, that means letting go of the past, not the person, but the emotions attached to them. If you're stuck in these thoughts, I encourage you to reflect. What part of my past is still here with me? What am I holding on to that's preventing me from finding peace? Part 4. Spiritual lessons from unresolved thoughts. I know that this can all seem overwhelming, especially when you're tangled up in these thoughts. You might wonder, why is this happening? Is there any purpose to this struggle? But let me assure you, there's always a lesson in every experience. Even in our most challenging moments, God speaks to us. And sometimes, the people we can't stop thinking about are part of a deeper spiritual lesson that we need to learn. You see, these thoughts are not a punishment. They're an invitation. An invitation to understand ourselves better, to heal from our wounds, and to move closer to God. Think of it this way. When you can't stop thinking about someone, it's as if the universe or God is saying, "Look deeper, my child. There's something within you that needs attention." It's not always easy to hear, but when we take time to reflect, we start to uncover what's beneath the surface of our thoughts. Sometimes these thoughts reveal our greatest needs for forgiveness, closure, or simply love. And that's okay. But the key here is to recognize that these thoughts are not meant to control you. They're meant to lead you to a place of self-awareness and healing. Let's consider this. What if these unresolved thoughts are calling us to examine our hearts? Are we afraid to face our own emotions? Are we holding on to something because we're scared to let go? When we allow ourselves to sit in the discomfort of these thoughts, we begin to understand what's truly missing within us. And the most beautiful part of all of this is that God is always there, gently guiding us. Even when our thoughts are filled with longing or confusion, He's present, offering His love and peace. And through that, we begin to find clarity. We start to see the bigger picture, that this person, no matter how important they are in our lives, isn't the one who will fill the deepest needs of our souls. Only God can do that. So take this moment of struggle, as an invitation to grow spiritually, to open yourself to healing, and to move toward a deeper relationship with the divine, who knows the very depth of your heart. Part 5. How to find peace amid the noise. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've heard all this talk about the why, the emotions, the connections, the lessons. But what about the how? How do you find peace when your mind just won't stop spinning, constantly thinking about someone who's taking up so much space in your life? The good news is, peace is possible, my friends. But like anything worth having, it takes intentionality and practice. The first step in finding peace is understanding that it's not about forcing yourself to stop thinking about this person. That will only make it harder. It's about changing how you respond to these thoughts when they arise. I want to share with you a powerful tool: prayer. When your mind is overwhelmed, prayer can be a safe space to surrender your worries, your desires, and your confusion to God. It's not just about asking for peace, though that's certainly part of it. Prayer is about listening. It's about giving your heart space to hear the still small voice of God speaking to you. Whenever I've found myself consumed by thoughts that I can't control, I turn to prayer. Not with a long list of requests, but simply to be still in God's presence. Sometimes it's just a matter of saying, "Lord, I need your peace right now. Please, calm my mind and heal my heart." You'd be surprised at how much power there is in those simple words. Another practice that has been profoundly helpful for many people is mindfulness. You see, our minds tend to get stuck on repetitive thoughts because we allow them to run unchecked. But mindfulness gives us the power to gently guide our focus back to the present moment. It's like hitting the pause button on your mental chaos. In those moments when you feel like you can't stop thinking about someone, try grounding yourself in the here and now. Focus on your breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Listen to the sounds around you. When you do this, you create space for peace to enter, and your mind can begin to reset. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are more than that. I often tell people that peace comes from surrendering control. When we try to force ourselves to stop thinking, we only make the thoughts more powerful. But when we surrender, when we give ourselves permission to be vulnerable and open, we allow God's peace to flow in. It's about trust. Trusting that, in time, the thoughts will settle. That you don't need to have all the answers right now. Remember, it's a process. Take small steps to create peace in your life. And as you do, you'll start to notice the power of stillness, of being present with yourself and with God. Part 6. Moving on and letting go. At this point, we've covered a lot about why you might be stuck in these thoughts and how to find peace amid the noise. But there's still one crucial piece we must address: letting go. Letting go is a word that can sound daunting, doesn't it? It feels like you're being asked to forget someone, to erase them from your heart. But that's not the case. Letting go isn't about erasing the love or the memories you have for this person. It's about freeing yourself from the hold that their presence, real or imagined, has on you. When we can't stop thinking about someone, it's often because we've placed them in a position of power in our hearts and minds. Whether consciously or not, we've allowed them to become a central focus. And in doing so, we forget the most important truth: that no one should have that kind of power over you, except God. Letting go is an act of liberation. It's not about forgetting the person or the relationship. It's about releasing the need for that person to fulfill something in you that only God can. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You stop holding on to something that isn't serving your peace. This is where we begin to find true freedom. When we let go, we make room for new experiences, new growth, and new relationships. We allow God to work in us, to heal us, and to guide us toward the future He has planned for us. I've seen so many people struggle with the idea of letting go because they fear they'll lose something valuable. But what I've learned, both through my own life and my work as a priest, is that letting go doesn't diminish the love you have for that person. It transforms it. It allows that love to become a memory that enriches your life, rather than a chain that holds you back. The journey of letting go can be slow. It's not always easy, but the peace that comes with it is worth it. And let me tell you, My dear friends, when you let go, you open your heart to receive more of God's love. You free yourself to experience the fullness of life, unburdened by the past. So, I encourage you, take the first step. Trust that God has a purpose for you, and that purpose is not bound by someone else. The road ahead may be uncertain, but it's full of possibility. And when you let go, you allow God's healing grace to enter, and He will guide you toward a brighter, freer future. Part 7. Takeaways and final words. So, my dear friends, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned today. We began by understanding that our thoughts about someone are not just fleeting. They are deeply connected to our emotions, our past, and sometimes our spiritual journey. We discovered that our hearts are designed for connection, and when someone occupies our mind, it's often because there's something within us that still needs attention. We then explored how our minds and hearts work together to keep us focused on someone, and how sometimes this is a sign of something deeper, something unresolved that we need to face and heal. We've discussed that these thoughts are not meant to control us, but rather, they are an invitation to grow, an invitation to understand ourselves better, to embrace healing, and to draw closer to God. We've learned that finding peace is not about pushing these thoughts away. It's about surrendering them to God, seeking stillness, and allowing His peace to fill the spaces where the noise once was. We talked about how mindfulness and prayer can help ground us, creating the space for clarity and healing. And finally, we touched on letting go, truly letting go, not by forgetting someone or erasing them from your heart, but by releasing their power over your mind and soul. Letting go is an act of freedom, an invitation to step into the fullness of life that God has planned for you. But before we finish, I want to leave you with this. Healing doesn't happen overnight. Peace doesn't come all at once. But it comes, gradually, gently, and often in ways we don't expect. So, if you find yourself still thinking about someone tomorrow or next week, don't despair. Take a deep breath, pray, and remind yourself that this journey is one of growth. Take it one step at a time, and know that God is with you in every moment of it. As you walk forward, I encourage you to embrace the peace that God offers. Allow yourself to release the burdens of the past, and trust that you are moving toward a future filled with love, freedom, and growth. And as you move through this process, know that you are not alone. God is with you, always, gently guiding your heart toward healing. Let's close with a prayer, asking for God's peace and guidance as we continue this journey together. Lord, we thank you for your love and your presence in our lives. We surrender our thoughts, our worries, and our longings to you. Please fill us with your peace and help us to move forward with open hearts. Teach us to let go of what holds us back and to trust in your plan for our lives. In your name, we pray. Amen. May God bless each of you, and may His peace always be with you. Conclusion. Before we part ways today, my dear friends, I want to remind you of something that I believe is at the very heart of all of this. You are not alone. The struggle to stop thinking about someone is something we all face, and it's not a burden you must carry in isolation. Whether you are in a season of waiting, longing, or even confusion, God is with you. He knows the depths of your heart, and He understands the weight of your thoughts. You may not have all the answers right now, but know that each step you take towards healing, no matter how small, is a victory. So, as you go about your day, remember that peace is not a distant dream. It is within your reach. It's in your prayer, in your quiet moments, and in the gentle act of surrender. And as you let go, you'll begin to create space for new beginnings, new relationships, and most importantly, a deeper connection with God. You don't have to rush this process. Take your time. God works in His perfect timing, and so often, the lessons we need to learn are revealed little by little. Trust the journey, even when it's difficult. Trust that you are becoming the person you are meant to be, and that each thought, each feeling, is shaping you for something greater. And remember, no matter where you are, no matter how heavy your heart feels, God's love will never leave you. He is with you, always. Thank you for sharing this time with me today. May you feel the peace of God settle over you now and in the days to come. And may His light guide you forward, bringing healing to every part of your soul. Take care, my dear friends. You are loved, you are seen, and you are never alone.